All right, we had a little break there, but we are back
Yeah,
and we're gonna share the screen with the whiteboard.
the whiteboard.
I think with the whiteboard sharing, is it just the whiteboard in our face? Probably, huh?
Yeah,
Well, whatever. Hmm.
I see you.
What are you most fearful of? How does that fear keep you from doing the things you want to do? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I did answer it.
Wait, you said no, you started, and then I kind of interrupted you.
Oh, no, basically, I said, I think I have a fear of being around a lot of people, crowds. It makes
Uh-huh.
me uncomfortable. And keep me from doing things, I guess, keeps me from being around a bunch of people because crowds um, make me nervous, I guess.
Well, it says, how does that fear keep you from doing things you would like to do? So I think the question is more like, oh, I would like to do this. Um, you should approach the question with like, what is it that drives you, like what you would like to do, and then a fear stopping you, not like you have a fear and then you're
Well, I
like, and
think
then I guess.
well, no, it's stopping me from meeting people, and I'd like to meet people.
Oh, so you like to meet more people.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought you're just introvert.
I am an introvert. That's what stops me from meeting new people because it makes me nervous around a lot of people. So I can take people in small doses, but when it's a large group, I get
What's the fear? I mean, is it
no
because you're
fear.
gonna say something? Well, it says, what are you most fearful of? So we're talking about fear.
Well,
If
I'm
you're
talking.
saying no fear, that doesn't
Well,
make sense.
no, I meant I. It's not like a fear of saying something wrong. It's just a fear of being. I just like it makes me uncomfortable. I don't really know why.
So you know that you feel fear, which
Yeah,
is like the feeling of being afraid of things.
I guess.
What are
Well,
you afraid of is the question because it says, what are you most fearful of? If it's crowds,
I guess being. I don't like being. I don't like the attention on me.
you don't want to be looked at, talked to. Well,
I don't. Well, I don't know. I guess it's a fear of being the center of attention. So if I put myself out there, I don't want to be the center of attention. If that makes any sense.
what's the fear in being the center of attention? Like people will judge you? Do you fear being
Mm,
judged by people?
maybe. I don't know. No, not really sure why it's like that, but I've had that for a long time.
Since when?
Since always. I've always been like that.
Even when you're even when you were like a kid and I thought as a kid you like really didn't or a lot of kids really don't give a fuck, you know.
I didn't
They
really talk
they
to
do
anyone.
whatever they want to do and they
No,
play.
I was very aware when I was a kid. I knew what I was doing. When I did stupid stuff, I knew it was something stupid, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You knew it was stupid, you did it anyways because you didn't give a fuck what people think.
Oh, I
So,
cared. I knew I would get in trouble.
okay, so you did it anyway knowing that you'll get in trouble.
Hmm.
So that means you didn't care what they think.
I guess so.
Unless you really, I mean, if you really cared, you wouldn't do it, right?
That's
If
true.
you felt like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble and I don't like the feeling of getting in trouble, I'm gonna
That's
go
true.
and do this.
That's true.
So you didn't care what people thought and you didn't care about like doing stuff in public and like there's other people around when you were younger. Like when did that happen when you started being afraid of people, of
Um,
crowds? Were you lost in a crowd one time
maybe.
or what?
I've been lost as a kid. I got lost in Disneyland when I was a kid in the middle of the night. I got lost in supermarkets too. So yeah, I've been lost a few times, quite a few times.
But you
That's
don't think that that's the reason why you're afraid of large crowds?
good.
Because I've been lost many times, many, many times.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know why. I just I've had that for a while.
Hmm.
Not too sure
So you're
where it
just
stems
afraid,
from.
just frantically afraid with no reason. It's not, you like meeting people, but you just
Well,
get afraid. Just
afraid
like
of
panic,
speaking. Like,
panic.
yeah, like I don't know what to say, so I don't say anything at all.
Why do you think that? Is it because you fear whatever you say is going to be stupid or inappropriate or not or boring?
I just can't think of anything to say.
You blank out?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Until I'm more comfortable, that's when I feel like I can be myself.
Well, mm, for me, I've also felt that way, but I got out of that. Um, but I remember the reason why I felt that way back then was because I didn't read enough. Uh, I wasn't aware enough about my world to contribute. Like I didn't read a lot of when I was younger, I did read a lot of stuff, but I didn't read like tech news. I didn't read the news, or I wasn't just aware of articles or things that other people can relate to. Um, but I got out of that when I started hanging out with people and I started talking about what I read or what I heard. And that like made me get out of, because the thing is, when people start talking about things and I have nothing to contribute, it's only because for me personally, it's only because my world is so damn small. Like I only did like a few things with my day, and uh, I didn't read like I just didn't read a lot. And when I started reading the news and reading articles online, or not even the news, but just like articles or blogs or books or just random stuff, then I have something to share, or I watch something and because of that and I remember what I watched and what the name was and when I did it, then I can be like, oh yeah, I watched this article or this video and it taught me this and the name is this and you can find it here. It made me like way comfortable to say stuff. But when I was younger, I didn't do much of that. And when the people are like, when I share what I thought, people are like, oh yeah, where did you get that? Oh yeah, where did you read that? Oh, where did you find that? I I wouldn't remember, or I just like I didn't pay attention enough to share the value that I was giving, because when they're like, oh yeah, what about that? And I'll be like, I don't know. I think that's like um, why I was afraid at the beginning, because I would say I don't know a lot since I didn't pay attention to the world that I was living and I didn't pay attention to the things I was doing. When I paid more attention, that's when I felt like, okay, yeah, like this is what it was and this is where I got it. And it made conversations with random strangers flow a lot more, because whenever you say something, people who are complete strangers always ask you more about it. Like, tell me more. And they usually ask you where the source is, or if they're interested in you, they would ask you where you got it from, what you heard it from, what source. And if you're just like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, then you look like a dumbass. And that's why it made me feel uncomfortable to talk to a lot of strangers in a crowd, because I look just stupid. And that's my perspective. Um, I don't know if that helps you with your perspective on if you're fearful, but if you were to say, let's have like the worst case scenario. If you were in a crowd and you start talking, Jonathan, what would you say?
I don't know what I would say.
But what would you say if you had to say something? We're doing a scenario. It's fake. There's no
I,
crowd.
no, I don't know. It makes me nervous just thinking about it. I don't like being on the spot either
Why?
because I don't like I like thinking things through. I don't like just blurting things out, and I don't know. I don't know
You
what I
don't
would
like
say.
to think on your feet?
I don't like to know
Hmm. Okay. Why not?
because I don't feel like what will say will make any sense if I speak without thinking. Because things that come up in my head don't make sense when I say them out loud the first time.
Really?
Hmm.
What about just normal conversation between me and you and stuff? Like, did you, when I ask you a question, you don't take like an hour to think about things before you
No, if
respond.
someone asks me a question, but if I'm just supposed to say stuff out of nowhere, no, I'm not gonna. It's probably just gonna be small talk stuff.
Well, that's what big crowds talk is. It's mostly small talk. It's
Yeah,
mostly talking to strangers.
that's what I am not comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah.
What am I most fearful of? I think I fear failure. I think the most thing I'm fearful of is that I like work really hard to build some type of life for myself and I end up like being homeless. Like that's a fear of mine. Like I end up just failing really hard because I feel like I can have failure to that degree. Like, you know, that's how I feel.
Hmm.
It keeps me from doing the things I would like to do. I think I don't, because I fear failure, like maybe sometimes financially too, I like don't do the big moves, like do the huge moves, like have like a bunch of commitment. I think I fear commitment. I fear like saying, okay, I'm gonna do it. Because sometimes a lot of times I say I'll do something and for 90% of the times I do what I say, but then because I feel like the 10% of the time I don't do what I say, I just it makes me feel so guilty. Like I would say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna show up," and then I don't, and it makes me feel like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm just I don't know. I feel like whenever I commit to big things, I just run away for a little bit and be like, "Oh no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I suck at it. I'm not ready." And that's I'm most fearful of, I think, failure. Okay. Are you chirpy in the morning or are you a grouch?
I think that just depends on the morning.
Usually for me in the mornings, I'm pretty happy. Okay. Do you ever pick up hitchhikers? What type of people would you pick up?
No, I've never picked up a hitchhiker.
I've never picked up a hitchhiker either. I think I would pick up a hitchhiker if they look clean.
I
Okay.
wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker at all.
Oh, not even if they look all clean?
No.
Okay. How often do you think your gut feeling is correct? When can you remember that it was incorrect?
Mm, I don't go by my gut feeling because I'm an overthinker. I tend to overthink things and um, I don't know. I feel like my gut feeling is wrong most of the time because I make up ideas in my head and it makes me think of stuff that's not really real. Like I make up scenarios, which I'm
So
trying to get better at not doing. But incorrect. I mean, if I go by my gut feeling all the time, I feel like I'd be incorrect a lot of the times. I typically try not to go by my gut feeling.
I think for me,
You're having a lot of fun. Type.
shut up. You
Oh,
made
that
me
got
laugh.
really good. Look at that.
You made me laugh.
Erase it.
Okay. For gut feelings, I think a sign of intelligence to me, for me, is that someone who has developed a really strong gut feeling because they know in their core that this is their light. This is the thing that it's the thing that is internal within them, and it doesn't. There's no outside influence. I think for someone who is like younger, their gut feeling is not that honed because they would think about something, they would have a conviction, and then someone would be like, "Oh, but what about this?" And then what about that? And then what about that? And they would be like, "Duh, okay, I think you're right." And then they just like lose their conviction. And I think we have that when we're younger because we aren't like that developed to have like that core like gut instinct that that confidence in ourselves. But when we grow up, we like grow out of that, and through making mistakes and then through doing stuff, so that the next decision you make, you're like, oh shit, this is going to be a bad decision, I should not do this. And then I think the gut feeling is the thing that like more often than not for me stops me from doing something really bad, or if I'm in a bad situation to get out. It's or like my because I fear failure. I don't think my gut feeling is more about like, oh yeah, this is gonna be really, really positive. Like my gut feeling is more like, oh, this will suck really bad. I should just this is not gonna be good for me. That's when my gut feelings emerge. Like that feeling in the gut like hits me when
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to do something really negative, or when or I'm in a bad situation and I need to run. It's kind of like a fight or flight kind of thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
think for some people, it could be like like when Twitter was a young companies. Some people were probably like, "Oh yeah, Twitter might be really good to invest in," and then they went with their gut and they're like, "I'm gonna put money in Twitter at this stage because I know that it's gonna blow up, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel like the gut instinct should serve you. But I don't see it as the gut instinct telling you what to say. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I converse, um, I usually don't confide in a gut instinct. When I talk, I'm not like searching for stuff deep down that's positive or negative. That's my gut,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's unless if I'm in an argument probably, and I have my gut instinct, and my gut instinct is telling me, okay, you need to get out of this, so therefore you need to make a conversation to get out. Then I would make that conversation based on the gut instinct of like, okay, get out. And then I talk to that person, I'm like, well, this is not good, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
um but conversation to me is not dependent on any gut thing. Like if I were to talk, that talking effort is not because I have to like think a lot, or if I don't think a lot, that it's gonna be shitty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what gut instinct. How often do you feel your gut feeling is correct? Oh, I was just telling you like what gut instinct is in terms of definition for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think um a lot of times I think I feel like it's correct, but sometimes it's really horribly wrong.
Hmm.
And so for me, I don't have like 100% confidence in my gut instinct, but I feel like someone who has made mistakes like or didn't make mistakes but just know how to make better decisions, like they've decided, like, what, okay, my more successful friends, I would say, or intelligent friends, they would make decisions based on their instinct, and it would be like a lot of times the right way for them to go. Like if they were to have pathways, they would like go this way, that way, and then there would be a split decision. They would choose this or that, and it eventually leads them to success. But my friends who go to jail and stuff, they're if they had to choose between this and this, their gut instinct would probably steer them towards like the more negative path, so that they eventually like end up in jail or something bad, because of a lot of micro decisions based on their intelligence, based on their emotional IQ or whatever, or based on their life. But for me, I think as I age, I feel like I would be improving the way that I think and the way that I feel and my confidence if I make better decisions. Like, not only in terms of like romantic life, but also just life in general. Because I do have friends who, um, or just myself who picked bad partners in the past. And this is like the romantic side of it, right? Not the life side, not the non romantic side, like career side, but life, but romantic. And they would be really, really smart, super intelligent women. And they would just choose like really bad partners. And it's like, what happened to their gut instinct that served them so well in education, right? And then it just gets fucked up uh when it comes to their gut instinct with men, or and I feel like uh the more emotionally stable you are, or at least what I've seen, the more emotionally stable you are, and the more intelligently you um, can process, like you have delayed gratification kind of thinking, then when you approach anything, you look at you look at it as a long term, at the long term results and not the now. And so you were like, okay, will this serve me in the long run? And if it won't, like, what does my gut say? That's when you consult your gut, right? So um I don't know why really intelligent people who make really good smart decisions with their career and with their education and stuff make horrible decisions with their romantic partners when they choose like who to be with. And then, or on the opposite end, people who choose, actually no, the other way around, I haven't seen that much. Like people who smartly choose their partners. Their partners are like, good decent people, and then they like fuck up the rest of their life. They don't I don't see the other way around. I see like really smart, intelligent people like choose a partner that's like just fucked up for them, you know? Um, but I don't know. I think it's a sign. I think it's a sign of intelligence if you emotional intelligence and mental intelligence, if you can trust your gut feeling more, because then you're not so swayed by your environment, and you're not like second guessing yourself all the time. And it's like, I think, a tougher life to live if you have to second guess everything you say and do, you know.
Hmm.
That's how I feel about gut feeling.
Got
um
it.
what one skill do you wish you had learned but haven't learned yet?
Mm, for me, I'd wish I'd learned French.
Okay, for me, I want to fly a plane.
Fly a plane.
Yeah, I want to eventually fly. Fly a plane,
Yes.
or like fly a paraglider. you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and surf thermal waves. I think that would be so awesome to be flying around in the sky.
Fly, fly, fly in the sky.
Does public speaking frighten you? Have you had experience with it?
I haven't had to publicly speak too much, just like in front of classmates. It used to scare me, but not as much. Well, I've had to do it a few times at work in front of coworkers, but it doesn't scare me as much as I used to if it's something that I have to do. But I rather not do it if I don't have to. Um, yeah.
Public speaking doesn't scare me, but it used to scare me because when I was young, I would freeze up until I took this one class, public speaking class, and I did really well. And now that I speak to people, like a small group, I can speak to a small group of people really well. I'm thinking maybe I can speak to a large group of people just as well, and I won't freeze up, but I haven't. I would like to be able to get good at public speaking because I would like to eventually do public speaking as one of the things that I want to do in my life. Like be able to move, be able to set, like have the privilege to speak in front of people and they listen because I think that that's a really cool thing for the people who can do it and
Mm,
get up and even have a message to say. If they have a message, I think that's really cool and awe-inspiring.
hmm.
So eventually that's something that I want to do do more public speaking.
All right.
Okay. Where am I? Oh,
What sort of reaction do you have when you get very upset?
are you gonna answer? Me answer?
I asked you a question, girl.
Okay.
That was me asking you.
Okay. What sort of reaction do you have when you get very upset? When I get extremely upset, let me think about when I'm really extremely upset. I get ranty, I think. I rant.
You
And
do.
then
I've heard your rants.
and I think I remember I was on this trip. Um this trip, I mean, I was on a trip with my family just like the past days and we were at this park. It was at Niagara Falls actually. We're at Niagara Falls. And there was this dad and he's like I'm not gonna pay for an escape room because you guys are too stupid to get through it, like
Wow.
too stupid to get through it. And he was talking and I was like, wow, he's being harsh. And then I was wondering who he was talking to, right? So I looked around and I saw he was talking to his own daughters, like two of his daughters. And his wife was just standing there and they were crossing the street with us, but that's what I overheard. And then one of his daughters, she started crossing the street before the crossing street area, the line.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Don't be an idiot. You're just gonna." He's like, "Cross at the crosswalk. Don't be such an idiot. You're gonna get run over." Like the way that he spoke was very like condescending
That's horrible.
and kind of mean, like really mean. But I think when I when at my most pissed off, that's how I feel. Like I remember just like I don't say it out loud. I don't say are you stupid, but like that's how I feel in my head when I'm angry. And I think for me it's more like anger at myself for surrounding myself with people who aren't capable or people I think aren't capable. I that I'm like more angry at myself. Like I get super angry at me. I'm like, God, Kim, like, why are you hanging around with this person? Like, this person's dumb. Like, that's how like, at my most angriest, that's how I think. I'm not like mad at that person. I'm not like, why are you dumb? I'm just really, really mad at myself. And that's how I get mad. I get like really pissed off that I made the wrong decision in hiring someone. Or I think usually I get mad when someone makes a mistake and I've taught them how to do it. I'm like, this is how you do it. And here's a video. And by the way, here's the step by step. And by the way, let me train you. Let me sit down and walk you through it. And then I do all of that. And then they ask me, how do you do it? Even when all the resources are there and I compiled it into one area and they can just search for it. I'm like, before you ask me another question, go and search for it in our internal, thing. And they would be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like they get the picture really quickly, but like I look back at all the times that I'm usually angry. And I'm like, Kim, like, why did you decide on this? Like, why was this your decision? You made a horrible decision. Like, you suck. Like, that's my mental thought. And for them, I'm like, well, they can't help but be who they are. It's either you are okay with it or you fire them, or you're okay with it or you leave, or, like, and if you stay, then don't fucking complain. Like, either leave or stay. And that's usually been the case with me. Um, Whenever I get really, really angry at someone, it's more like I'm super mad at myself for being around like people that will frustrate me, like stupid people.
Hmm.
Yep.
Got it.
What about you?
I just don't feel like talking to the person anymore when I get really angry.
Like ever
At all.
again? Like I'm done with you for
Not ever
life. We're
again.
done
No,
for
no,
life.
not done for life.
You said
Just,
any more.
well, in that moment, I didn't mean like forever. It depends on what they
You
do.
said any more. You didn't say in that
Okay,
moment.
okay. I got it. Wrong choice of words. Anyways, yes, I just don't feel like talking to the person when I get really angry. And I end up just not talking to the person for a while
Oh,
until I
so
feel
you
better.
shut down.
Mhm.
What is a while? Like how long do
Just
you not
depends on
talk to someone?
it depends on the situation and what's been done.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I do talk to them, but I'll say it to their face. What sort of
I know. Trust
what
me.
sort of reaction do you have when you give it? Is it ever appropriate for someone to express anger in a physical way? If so, when and how?
Mm, I don't think so
I think never.
because I've had someone push me when we were in an argument before.
Well,
And
I was beaten, so I would say never. Nothing physical.
yeah.
Okay, how do you typically handle? Oh, were you gonna finish some? Were you gonna say
No,
something?
no, no,
I
no.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Okay. How do you typically handle the trauma from a big loss, whether it is from the death of a loved one, getting fired, or some other big disappointment?
Um, I
You
just
say you
keep
shut down.
well with the death, yeah, but the rest of it, not really. Like fired or whatever. You just start looking for a job again. But yeah, no, I most of the time if I have a big disappointment, I usually take a day to like regain myself, and then after that, I'm like, all right, this is how I'm gonna solve it the next day. You know,
Yeah.
so I take a day to kind of just feel whatever I'm feeling, and then once I'm done, I figure out a way to solve whatever is going on. And as far as like death, there's a big loss like that. Really, the only thing that helped was time.
Yeah. I never had death like that. So for me, something disappointing happened, I usually just go, oh well. That's what happens in my head. I'm like, can't change the past. Just move on, Kim.
Mhm.
And unless I get triggered again, I think if it's like a repetitive loss after loss,
Mhm.
then I would get like I would snap. But if it's like one time, some loss, and then I just go, oh well.
Oh well.
Yep, that's what happens in my head. I'm like, well, I can't change it. It already happened. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna show us your abs?
No.
Okay, fine. What is your typical reaction when someone criticizes you?
Where is I don't see those questions.
Just scroll down.
I did. Oh, the very last one, the very bottom. I see it. Um,
Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, that's the very next question. I thought I was jumping all over the place, but that's just the next question.
yeah,
What
well,
is your typical reaction when someone criticizes you?
it depends on what it is. I mean, I've had people criticize something I did at work, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey, you can do this way, and it would be better." So I take it as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I try not to like stuff like that get to me. Unless it was that, I told you the one girl I dated where she came at me with a list of things she didn't like about me. That I didn't like. I was like, why are you criticizing me on this shit? I wish I remembered the list.
Well, were you like lying to her or
No,
anything like
I
that?
wasn't lying. I was a
Was
good
she
guy.
like, I thought you were
She,
this type of
she,
person and you
she
were
did.
like,
No,
not
no,
this?
no, 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 no. She didn't. She wrote. She didn't like the way I looked at her, like when I stared at her because I liked her a lot. So I looked into her eyes a lot. She didn't like that. Um, that was the one that bugged me the most because I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, well,
Well, what? Okay, that was a tool. Is the rest like that? Like totally
uh,
irrational?
some
Completely irrational?
some of them seem pretty irrational. I don't remember exactly every single one she listed. That's just the one that stuck with me because I was like, what the hell? But there was what else was there? It was a while ago.
So there was rational stuff that she said that made sense to you?
Yeah, like stuff where we weren't compatible or something like that. She said something like that too, which is fine, but I don't even think she should have came at me with a list anyway.
We
Oh
were.
yeah, we've been dating for a couple months, so I'm gonna write you a list of things that I don't like. It's like, oh, what the fuck? That was a new
Well,
experience, though.
well, did you see that coming though? Because people who make
I,
those lists are kind of more anal
you
with
know, what's
things.
funny is I thought it was fine until like one day we hung out and everything felt totally off. Like it was very weird. I think she was trying to compare me to her ex. In the end, I think that's what it was. Because I think she was looking for things that her ex had that I didn't.
What things?
I don't know. I just I think she was used to a way of being or used to a certain way a person or she had I don't know, she just had I don't remember exactly. That's
Like
just
she
what I
was used to being like what? Like
treated a certain way,
spoiled?
I guess. I guess, I don't know.
Like taken care of?
Well, it was
Like
she was
were you not taking
she
care
was
of her?
married or whatever, so I think she was like no, it's not that I wasn't taking care of her. I mean, I wasn't like we weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend. We were just dating. So I
So how
wasn't taking care of her.
Was she the one that you guys broke up? You said six weeks into it or something, or
Yeah, like a couple months.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we were dating for a couple months, and then all of a sudden, she got all.
Well, didn't she say, or wasn't it like right after you guys had sex and she was like, no?
No, it wasn't right after, because we had another good time before that happened.
Oh, so it was like good, 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 and then it was like horrible. Like
Yeah,
there was a switch.
yeah. Like I remember, like she was really close, and like she liked hugs and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, she was telling me that, oh, I'm too much. Like I'm hugging her too much, or I want too much attention because I want to hug her and all that.
Was her ex like a hugging kind of person or
I don't know.
distant?
I don't know. I
You
didn't.
said she was comparing you to her ex, so
Well, that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking, that she was like things a certain way.
hugs.
Mhm.
That makes sense. A lot of people, when they start dating again, they can't help but compare. I mean, I do that.
Yeah, I know you
I
do
think
that.
every single, I think every single girl does that. I think it's like a very normal thing to do.
I can't. I don't like that. I don't like getting compared to some other guy.
I think every girl does that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did it, and then other exes probably. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know. Did your other ex do that at all, or did they even have?
No,
Did they even have anyone before that?
no, my most recent ex didn't compare me at all.
Uh, that must be nice.
That was nice, not getting compared to anyone. Because it's kind of weird when you get compared to someone. It's like you have to think for a second, are they like missing that person, or like am I not enough? What why are you comparing me?
Yeah, I think when they do compare, it's kind of like semi part of both. Like I for me, when I compare, it's more like saying um I do part of it is missing, probably missing what my ex provided, but at the same time also kind of like recognizing that you're a different person in that comparison process.
Mhm.
Because if I don't, I think for me, if I don't compare in my mind, then I wouldn't appreciate, either. Like I wouldn't appreciate you as well as like dislike some things.
Mhm.
So that's what girl goes on in a girl's head when she
Ugh,
compares.
I don't compare.
Yes, you do.
Not a lot. Not like that.
But you just say you don't compare as if you're this high and mighty person who like
I
never
well,
internally
no,
thinks
no, no, no,
or
no.
even
I
like compare
like
like I don't compare. I'm just so high and
well, I
mighty
don't.
on my
I
high
do.
horse.
I don't say anything out like that out loud most of the time.
You say stuff all the time about comparing. You're like, oh yeah, my ex used to do this and you don't do it, Kim. My ex that used to do this and you don't do it. But a lot of the times it's like good things. It's because your ex was like emotionally just a codependent person who isn't independent on her own. And you chose someone who's like that. For some people, that's totally fine because then that person latches onto you and then you just are fine with that dynamic. It works out with some people, but I'm not that type of person. So I don't latch onto you. But then you tell me stuff like, oh, my ex used to, whenever I have an opinion about anything, it's always my fault. and then you tell me you don't do that. And I'm like, well, adults don't do that. You know, like you do give me comparison, but for me, I'm thinking you have a high school relationship with someone and now you have an adult relationship. So I don't think it's more of me saying, hey, this is not special. This is something that everyone should have as an adult if you're an adult. But if you're still dating someone who's like a high school mentally like high school person, then this is what you get, and that's like your fault for picking them. And for me, it's my fault for picking people who are like, you know, um, not what I want, like emotionally distant. You know, if I feel more comfortable with emotional distance, and I tell you, oh yeah, my ex was emotionally distant, and you're not like that, that's a comparison. And then you say that you tell me you hate all these comparisons, but I think you're not thinking about all the positive things. Like,
That's true.
and you compare the shit out of your ex and me, and then you tell me on your high horse, I don't compare because you just
Oh.
don't pay attention.
Well, I guess I compare in a positive way because I appreciate the things that what you give me.
Yeah. I compare
I
in a
try not to
more
bring.
unbiased way. Positive, negative.
Yeah, I know. I don't really bring up negative because I don't think there's a point.
Oh. But is there negative stuff then? Probably, huh?
Um,
What negative things?
I don't know.
Okay then.
Besides, no, I don't know.
What things are you most selfish? Wait, that's not it. Where am I? What page am I on? It's definitely not that question. What is your typical reaction when someone criticizes you?
You asked that already. I don't know if you answered it. Oh, you didn't answer it. I answered it.
Yeah. Wait, no. I don't remember your answer.
I did. I said like at work. I went over. Remember, I went through a whole thing where it was like, oh, at work, and then I talked
But
about the.
what's your reaction?
I use it as constructive criticism. Usually, if someone criticizes me at work, it's for a reason, and I take it as a learning experience.
Okay, so what's your reaction? We were talking about after that when you were I think what happened, I think why I didn't think you answered it was that you got into saying that your ex, you were compared and that type of reaction, and you never answered that part.
What? Okay, ask me.
Well, you were saying you were creating a basis for it. You're like, it depends on what type of reaction. One reaction is a work thing where it's constructive, and I'm okay with that. And then the other action is being compared, and you say you don't like it, but what's your reaction to it?
I don't like comparing. I don't
But what's your
when
reaction? I know what you don't like, but it says, what's your typical reaction? That's the question.
I don't listen to the person.
Like, you don't think they're right, or
Yeah, I don't think they're right.
when a romantic partner criticizes you?
It depends on what, and it really depends on what.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's my typical reaction when someone criticizes me? I think my typical reaction is, so what? That's usually my typical reaction when someone criticizes who I am or what I do. I just think to myself, I'm like, this person has issues or something like that in my mind. I'm like, they're criticizing me, they have issues. It never depends on what they think, whether it's positive or bad. Well, if it's positive, they wouldn't criticize me, right? Um, but if it's like negative, or if it's work versus romantic, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Work. If
Hmm.
it's work, I'm really open minded, and like if someone tells me something's broken or I'm doing something wrong, I would think about it. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. And then if I after I think about it and process it, and I think they're dead wrong, I would tell them, no, you're 100% wrong. We're still gonna do this, or like because I have people who work with me, and I tell them what to do. So a lot of times when they criticize me, they have to kind of like, they're either Sukanta, he's super blunt, so he'll be like, Kim, you are wrong, and then I would tell him, no, you're dead wrong, and then we would go off like back and forth until I prove to him that he's wrong because I show screenshots, and I'm like, here are the screenshots, you're dead wrong, and then he's like, oh, and then he would just not admit to his fault, and then we would just continue our conversation and whatever. He would just change his ways. He was like, fine, he'll say, okay, I'll do it that way, because he sees that he's dead wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's like Luis, he was talking to me. He's like, Kim, I want to quit. One time he wanted to quit because I was so abrasive as like a person who's telling him what to do. And then I'm like, okay, okay, okay. I'm like, just give me a week. Like, I'm just gonna change my ways because I don't want you to quit. And then he's like, all right. So he gave me a week, and during that week, I just changed my ways completely with how I deal with him. I don't berate him. I don't do anything. I don't say like very blunt things to him. I just don't do it. I just some switch in my mind. I'm like, don't do this to Luis, and so I didn't. And then he stayed with me. So for me, work is like, it's like, if I feel, I would think about it first before I react with work. But if someone is like personal and they criticize me, um, I would think in my mind, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I really, in my head, I'm like, who cares? And if they continue to care, then I just block them. So that's my reaction to if someone criticizes me. There's another type of criticism that's out there, that's like someone who isn't your romantic person, someone who isn't in your friendship circle. Oh, therapists. Like, if it's a therapist and the therapist is criticizing me, they do it in a really nice way. So I like think about it. Uh, I think about it, process it. I'm like, you could be right. Like, that's my reaction. Like, you could be right. You know?
Yeah.
What
I
about what about you?
with what?
When someone criticizes you?
I told you. If I think it's ridiculous, I won't listen to it.
I remember if someone criticize, like if I criticize you,
Well, because I care about what you think too. I'll listen to your criticism.
yeah, you actually listen to my criticism and you change things. So that's your reaction to me.
Well, yeah, because I don't know. I think it's the same thing with you. I've told you you're a little too blunt sometimes, and I feel like you toned it down a little bit.
Well, I've had experience toning it down. I just don't know what level people can take it until they tell me.
Yeah, well, I told you.
About what things are you most selfish?
What are these questions?
It's just right below the criticism one.
Mm.
I think these questions are like the most revealing about who you are.
Did you just send me a screenshot or did you send me the PDF?
I sent you the PDF, but I also sent you a screenshot, so maybe you got confused either way.
Oh, yeah, I clicked the wrong one. And it's not downloading the PDF. There we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. We can just go on. What's the question? Can you repeat it one more time?
Oh, you don't have it? Okay.
Well, I haven't got it up yet. I'm going to get it up in just a second.
About what things are you most selfish? Super selfish. The super most selfish.
Mm,
Selfish.
um, I think I'm most selfish when I really don't want to do something and I just won't do it. That's what I'm. It's not anything in particular. It's just like what if I really don't want to do something, I get really selfish.
Okay.
But I think it takes a lot for me to not want to do something.
I think I'm really selfish about my time. Like, I just feel like I have one life. I'm not religious, so I don't feel like I'm gonna like wake up in a different lifetime. I
Hmm.
feel like if I have one life and someone or uh like I would feel very selfish. Like if I were to be forced to hang out with people or forced to be in a, I guess same answer as you, forced to do something where I'm like, I don't feel like for me now in my age, it's either yes for sure. Like I feel I'm going to an event. Like it has to be like a hell yes kind of thing. Like
Hmm.
it's either hell yes or hell no. Like if I'm with someone, like hell yes I'm gonna be with them, or like just fuck no, not like eh. Like if I feel about like a friend or something, then I wouldn't really want to hang out with them and I just won't. If even if they invite me to things and even if they tell me, hey Kim, let's go and do this, in my mind, um I just I'm like, no, no, I don't want to. And so I've made less and less. I think when we're young, we're
Hmm.
just forced into attending things that we don't want to attend and doing things we don't want to do just because we have a guardian and then they take us to places and they
Hmm.
dress us up the way we don't want to dress and stuff like that,
Hmm.
like out of our willpower. But now that we're older and we have more control of our lives, like I just don't subject myself to doing the things I don't want to do anymore. So that's when I'm very selfish about my time. Like, if I feel like I need to just be by myself or just not see anyone, um, I would do that. And I don't really like it's more for my sanity than anything. I'm, or maybe we're thought to think that it's selfish, but what if it's just self love? What if it's just self care and not selfish? But what if the word selfish is all about that? It just has a negative connotation. What about being selfish is a good thing? You know? What if selfish is good? It means that you're taking care of yourself first
Depends
so
on
you
what.
can be good.
It depends on what kind of selfishness. I think if someone like if you're with married to someone and they really want to go to an event and it's not your thing, so you don't go, but they really want you to go. I think that's a negative type of selfishness.
That's true.
So I think it really depends.
But if you're married to someone, you're pretty much like saying that you're not going to be that way.
Yeah, that's true, but that's not how relationships work. A lot of people marry people that are like that.
That's
I'm
because they
sure.
choose the wrong people.
Yes, I know. But some people are okay with it too, being trampled on, I guess.
No, I don't think anyone's okay with it. They just settle for it.
Settling is like saying you're okay.
No, it's a completely
I
just
feel like.
settling thing. Okay. Do you think that you're able to calmly and wisely react in emergencies? What
I
are
think
some
so.
examples? What are
I
some
think
examples?
at work, when things go down, we can't freak out. We kind of just have to figure it out. I work in IT for people that are listening. And when something breaks, you can't freak out. You just got to figure out a way to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for you. And the same thing for me. If something is very stressful at work, I just get through it. That's it. I
Hmm.
just have to get through it because there's so many things, so many fires.
Unless you're like, fuck it all.
Yeah, I either get through it
Yeah.
or I just shut down for a day.
Yep. Hmm.
Do you think that you're able to calmly? Oh, this is what I've noticed in our conversations while we're doing this.
Mm.
Whenever something is really negative, you go, "Yeah, trust me, I've been through it." And it's when I say something and I'm like, "This is what's wrong with me," and you're like, "Trust me." Like to me, that's really uh like condescending and kind of like backhanded.
Mm.
So I don't want to, for me, I would prefer not to hear those comments from you in the future. Like, it's kind of like having a friend that's sitting there and you're talking with them, and then the person that you're with, your partner, saying, "This is what I think. This is the negative side of me," and then you're like, "Trust me, yeah, you do that." Like, and you're telling the listener, you're like kind of confirming, saying, "Oh yeah, you are shitty like that."
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's a really bad thing, and I don't like to hear that from you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Do you think that you're able to calmly and wisely? Yes, I think we've both been through emergency situations and we're pretty calm about it. How do you feel when a beloved pet of yours died? None of my beloved pets died, so I don't know. I didn't have pets growing up except fish, and I felt nothing when they died.
I've had dogs die. It's
Hmm.
very sad, but I mean, I get over it. I cried a little bit. That's about it.
Yeah, I think that's normal reaction, but I haven't had like a dog die on me yet. There's Harold and Pedro. They're still alive. Do you have a dream that repeats it again and again? What is it? No, I used to. I used to dream I was like in this place where it was a garden and a bunch of ladybugs flying all over the place. I had that reoccurring dream of like walking through a garden with lots of ladybugs, and that was repeated many times, and I don't know what it means. And then it just stopped one day, and I never dreamt that again. No idea. Mystery. What about you?
Uh, I used to have dreams where I'd show up to school naked.
Did it stop, or are you still having those dreams?
Yeah, it stopped. I don't have them anymore. But I
Oh.
remember feeling very embarrassed. It was nerve-wracking. And it was weird because it was kind of like I just teleport there and I'm all of a sudden I have no clothes on and I had them a second ago. They just disappeared.
Maybe it's just like puberty. Oh, who knows? I'm not a dream interpreter. What feeling do you have the most difficulty controlling?
Mm, anxiety.
The desire to have sex is my most difficult. Yep. How do you think I handle myself when I'm in a crisis situation? What feeling do you have the most difficulty expressing?
Mm, I guess anger maybe because I shut down when I'm feel like I'm wronged rather than expressing it in a positive way, I guess.
Okay. What feeling do I have the most difficulty expressing? I think like vulnerability, like being completely vulnerable. I think I have a lot of walls up. That's what I think. How do you think I handle myself when I'm in a crisis situation? So we're like telling the other person.
Hmm.
So, how do you think I handle myself when I'm in a crisis situation? Jonathan?
I think most of the time you just get through it. Like we talked before, I think most of the time you just get through it, unless it's to the point where you just shut down.
Okay. From how do you handle crisis situation? I think you panic, but in a internal mental way. Like I can see the panic in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like one time you thought that your car was stolen and you're just like internally panicking, but I can tell. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at you panic. But you're not like going, oh shit, motherfucker. You're not vulgar. You're kind of like internally panicking.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I was like, everything's gonna be fine. And if you lose a car, just buy another one. Like that's how I
Yeah,
think
something
about
like that for me.
losing a car.
My car is important.
Okay, if you could choose to know everything about one topic, what area would you choose to be an expert?
Computers,
Mm-hmm. And
technology.
for me, is not knowing everything about a topic, but like, oh, human behavior. I would like to know about psychology, like human behavior. How would someone be able to tell if you're happy if you're sad?
That's I don't hide that type of stuff. You can tell
If,
by my face.
yeah, if I'm happy, I laugh a lot. If I'm sad, I don't think I cry. Well, you can say you can tell by my face, but that doesn't answer the question. The question is, how would someone tell? You know, like that's
I
assuming that they know the answer, but they don't. If they
well,
look at your face.
I express if you can express or I express myself through facial expressions.
That's
If I
still not the answer for it.
Yeah,
You should say you smile when you're happy.
yeah. Well, that's basically what I mean. Like if I'm smiling, yeah, I'm happy. If I'm not smiling, um, I'm not happy. I'm not sad, but I to tell if I'm sad.
Exactly. You could tell, okay, if someone looks at your face, can they tell that you're sad if you just look blank? Do you cry when you're sad? Every time you're sad?
No.
See? So if they look at your face, they're not going to tell if you're sad because they don't know you.
Hmm.
The question is so that I would know you, like, or other people would know you. I can't
Well,
just look at your face and know that you're sad.
if I don't feel like doing anything, most likely I'm sad for a reason.
So that's not a facial thing. That's completely like behavioral.
Okay.
So you're sad, you just don't do stuff, don't do activities.
Hmm.
If I'm
Most of the time.
happy, I would laugh and join in. If I'm sad, I used to shut down when I'm sad, like I would just disappear. I feel like that won't really work with you because you'll be damaged by it. So now when I'm sad, I just tell you straight up, verbally, I say it. So
Hmm.
someone can tell if I'm sad. I
Hmm.
just tell you, hey, this makes me feel crappy. And then you either change your behavior or not. That's it.
Hmm.
Um, but with my ex, when I tell him, hey, this makes me sad, he just says, well, you have to think of it in a different way so that you don't get sad. Or he would say, I'm sorry that this makes you sad. But he's kind of like saying take it or leave it kind
Hmm.
of thing. And for me, when he's sad about something, I think uh, I would treat him the same way. I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but oh well, you know?
Hmm.
And I think that's like why it felt like we didn't want to really change for each other at all, you know?
Hmm.
So that reminded me of that.
Mm.
Yeah, but with you, when I'm sad and I tell you, "Hey, I'm sad," you're like, "Come here, let me hug you." You're like more like comforting or like, "Oh, that makes you feel sad? Okay, I'm gonna do it differently next time." Like it's
Hmm.
different, you know?
Yeah.
How about you?
I think you're the same way for the most part. If I don't like something, you try to do it differently.
Mm. Are you an organized person?
Mm, I would say a little bit. I'm kind of organized. More
I
than
would
you.
say I am not that organized.
I'm a little more organized than you. But you are organized with like projects and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm organized with the things I think are important, which is definitely, I guess, not my room.
No,
Uh,
not at all.
if a fire destroyed your home and all your belongings, what would you do?
uh, hopefully I have insurance. um,
If you could take out three things before the blaze, what would they be?
from my home, I don't know. Maybe just my computer because I need it for working and all that stuff. Mm, well, if I have pets, I mean, I don't have pets right now, but if I had pets, that's one of the things I would take out.
It says assuming there's no one in the house at the time of fire. So I think they're talking about like material stuff. They're not talking about like people or pets.
Let's see. I think just my computer. I think anything else I wouldn't be heartbroken over.
Okay. For me, I would definitely take out my diaries and all the memorable stuff. My diaries contain a lot of memorable things to me. And then my computer, and I think like a diary, a computer, and my iPad. if I had to choose three things, that's it.
All right.
If you're a talented writer and were guaranteed to sell 100,000 copies of whatever book you wrote, what would it be about?
Hmm. I would like to write a book on some type of technology related thing if I was good at writing.
What do you mean if you're good at writing? It says that you're guaranteed to sell 100,000.
Then that's what I would write about, some type of tech.
What type of tech?
I don't know, something computer related or
Dive deeper. Think about what specific topic.
hmm.
What would be the title of your book?
Oh, I don't know. I would be like
Well, these questions are meant for you to think critically too. It's not like, oh yeah, something about something, like what's the point in asking that kind of question?
I don't know. All right. I don't know. I don't know of what the book I would write it on. Probably some type of book about computer hardware or something like that. Because I like that stuff.
What is it about computer hardware that you would like to share to people in a book?
I would like to write a book on how to build a PC that I guess fits your needs depending on what you're looking for.
Okay.
Because a lot of people ask that question to people. What should I buy?
Like if you're a gamer, what kind of PC?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like a hospital, what kind of PC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that would be useful.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a talented writer, I would like to be known to write a book about uh, fiction. I would like to write about some sci-fi story because I think if I'm known for sparking the imagination of people and saying, "Oh yeah, your book created this whole other world for me."
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be very fun to be the person to help people's imaginations run wild.
As you're drawing book over and over again.
Shut up. Uh, yeah.
At different colors. So I think we are at an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay, we can stop here because there's like 1,000 questions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we can get through all these right now.
But I wanted to finish 1,000.
No! They're gonna be like, what the fuck are these guys? Like, they're gonna see like a fucking 5-hour video and be like, fuck that shit.
No, we just cut it out. We just splice in the intro for like today.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you didn't know it, but today our podcast is 12 hours long.
Well, that's too bad because I ain't staying for 12 hours.
Okay, fine. We can close this out.
We'll continue this on the next episode.
Well, this has been thank you for sticking it out with us for an hour and 30 minutes. This is the Just Getting Through Life podcast by Kim
and Jonathan.
and we would like to wish you a lot of happiness.
Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And I stopped.